Okay, Lexi, so now let's talk a little bit about traveling. You already mentioned that you went to Italy and Greece this last summer,
Yes,
and it seems like you had a great time.
it was a lot of fun. Lots of partying and drinking and meeting new friends from around the world.
Excellent. That is actually quite interesting because then I can ask you, you know, who were the friendliest people? Who what nationalities did you mostly interact with, and that you found in Italy and Greece, for instance?
Well, when I was in Greece, I did a tour called Kentucky. It's for people that are age about 19 to 35 or 36. And people sign up from all over the world, and it's a tour with an itinerary that is day to day, so you know exactly what you're doing or where you're going. And on this trip, I was actually on a cruise ship. So when I was in Greece, we went to about 6 or 7 different places, and we also went to Turkey too. And most people I got along with and that were the friendliest were from Australia.
From Australia.
Yes.
Excellent. The Aussies.
Yes, the Aussies.
Aussies, right? Aussies.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I have met quite a few very friendly people from Australia as well. There are many over in Whistler,
Yes.
right? Because they like coming over to Vancouver and British Columbia for skiing. So then they come over here. Of course, there are many in Vancouver as well, but also a lot of them like to go to Whistler because of the mountains and the snow, so they can go skiing and snowboarding.
True. Yes. Whenever I go to Whistler, I feel like I'm in Australia because everyone you talk to has an accent compared to always living in Canada. So it is lots of fun going to Whistler.
Interesting, interesting. And how did you find the Italian people?
They are great, very nice and accommodating. One of my favorite memories, one night I was in Milan and I was wandering around and I did lots of great shopping. And one night I had dinner, and because I did not know anyone, I had dinner by myself. And I read a book, and after my cell phone died, I ended up speaking to a man next to me that was Italian. And even though he didn't really understand English that well, we communicated through a few keywords, and he also showed me pictures of where he's been in Europe. So it was a great experience.
Interesting. So basically, you were able to communicate with him mostly through just certain keywords that in English that he was able to understand, and vice versa. And you had a nice chat with him, although he spoke very little English and you speak very little Italian.
Yes. Every once in a while, when the server came, he would ask the server to translate. It was a lot of fun.
That's interesting. Something that I'd like to ask you that I find really interesting and funny is that I have a couple of female friends that said that in their experience, Italian men are very forward to. So in other words, they like approaching women and making usually funny, charming comments to them to engage in conversation and flirt with them. Did you experience some of that in Italy?
Yes, I do agree with you. I found that some of the men in Italy are very forward, which is kind of refreshing because where I'm from in Vancouver, they're more North Americanized, where they're not as forward. They do keep you guessing though, but the Italian men, they're very upfront.
Interesting. Yes. So I guess that, or at least from what I have seen, North American men. I have many friends here from Canada and from I have friends from the States as well, and many of them are quite shy when it comes to just speaking with women. So normally they like to have a few beers before, and they like to have drinks before, and then they, you know, of course there are many exceptions. There are many people over here who are also quite, you know, open, and they like to engage in conversation more. However, that's I would say that that is more common to see shyer men over here in Vancouver, and you know, and from I guess we could say that Italian men are a little bit more direct.
Yes, I do agree again with you. There are some exceptions, though. There are some men that are more forward
True.
that I've met in North America. But some females, too, come across as shy. Or sometimes when you are at the bar, it can go both ways, where the males won't talk to the females unless the females talk to the males. It goes back and forth. I guess that in some of my experiences, some people in North America are a little more shy. But it all depends on where you are and who you're with and the different setting you're in.
True, I completely agree, and I think that, like we said, like you know, it comes down really to the individual. There are many exceptions, but I think that especially in Southern Europe, normally people tend to be a bit more, I would guess, warmer and not only necessarily to flirt, but just in general, people will be a little bit less shy, engage in conversation with strangers, and how did you find the Greeks?
When I was in Greece, everyone was lovely too. Across the board, everywhere I went, in Greece and Italy, everyone was really nice and accommodating. And even if some people did not know the English language very well, they tried their hardest to help you out. So that was great.
Interesting. Well, I guess that both these countries are beautiful and popular destinations. So I would guess that the people in Italy and Greece, they have experienced a lot of tourism and a lot of tourists visiting them. So I guess they would know already. They're prepared to be accommodating to them, which is of course very nice. And have you been to other places in Europe?
Yes, I've been to London, and I've been to Austria. I've been to Portugal.
Interesting.
Yes.
A lot of my background is Portuguese. However, I have not been to Portugal. How did you find Portugal?
It was great. Again, everyone was very nice and accommodating, and it was great weather.
Great weather, excellent. And when was this?
This was about 3 years ago. I went in the summertime.
Excellent. And what about London? Did you like London?
I love London. It's a very, very fast-paced city.
Yes, that's true.
You always have to watch, crossing the streets or where you're going. One experience that was great was just going down to the underground and going on the tube. There's so many different stops and changeovers that it was a little overwhelming, but yeah, everyone was, helpful too for the most part. But in London, I found that it was so busy that some people were running to the trains to get to their destination.
That is true. What I personally experienced in London that I found quite interesting is that last time I went was in November of 2014, So in London, so many people. There were so many people in the subway, and people kept bumping into one another. Something uncommon here in Vancouver, and but in London, I think that it just happens so frequently because there are just so many people. It's so crowded. People are running around, and yes, it's very fast paced, but at the same time, it's a very exciting city. But I think that perhaps I would not enjoy it as much if I actually lived in London as opposed to just being a visitor.
Yes, I feel as a visitor in London is that although it's very fast paced, you have to keep up to the rhythm of the city. For some people that don't like city being as fast paced and lots going on, maybe other parts of the city or even the suburbs were really nice too. It's a lot more slower pace, and I love the greenery when I went into the outskirts.
Interesting. Yes, I guess I haven't been to Hyde Park in a while, but I would guess that that's also a more relaxed destination in London, or is there a lot of people, perhaps? Have you been to Hyde Park?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't been to Hyde Park, but that's on my list now.
Interesting, yeah. Comparably, I found that in Paris, and I love Paris as well, that it's also, of course, a very vibrant, fast-paced city, but there were many gardens and places where you could go that were quite relaxing. Even in a very busy season, like the summer. Paris in the summer have been there a few times in the summer, and has been always extremely busy. A lot of tourists from all over the place, and at times it's just a little bit overwhelming. So it's nice to just go to some gardens and have a relaxing time, I guess, as well, and just sit down with a drink and enjoy the weather.
Yes, it's always good to have some time to yourself and kind of explore different places that aren't as busy.
That is true. Well, thank you, Lexi. I think that this was an interesting conversation about traveling and different destinations. And it was also interesting to learn about your experiences in all these different places. So thank you.
Thank you.